Whenever I think of Santa Claus, I get happy inside. I mean, what's not to love about him? A jolly old man who flies around on Christmas and delivers presents to everyone. I mean, that's pretty great. In these stories though, that's not really the case. What is good, my friends? My name is Nicholas Playlog and I am your host in today's video where we're going to be looking at the top 5 terrifying Santa Claus stories that will keep you up at night. Let's get into it. Number 5 on this list is actually a movie called Santa's Sleigh. Santa's Sleigh is a Christmas horror comedy movie that was released in 2005 and has a super unique take on Santa Claus as a whole. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this movie definitely isn't the scariest out there, but its premise is simply too good to not include in this video. Basically, Santa Claus, played by Bill Goldberg, isn't the happy-go-lucky, jolly, fat-bellied fellow that we know and love. In this movie, Santa is actually a demon. Now, this demon has no love for being Santa Claus, and he is actually only doing it as a punishment. The premise of the film is that Christmas never used to be a day of giving out presents, but for thousands of years, it was called the Day of Slaying, and Santa would actually go around murdering people to his heart's content. This was right up until 1005 AD, where this demon Santa Claus had a bet with an angel that he lost, and then the angel forced him to give out presents on Christmas, or the Day of Slaying, for 1,000 years. Now, since this movie was released in 2005, and if you're keeping track of the math, that would put the demon Santa Claus right on schedule to continue his brutalistic murdering on the Christmas that this movie takes place on. Considering this movie stars Bill Goldberg, who is literally signed to a WWE contract right now and is quite the personality, the movie itself really isn't that scary, but the premise does make you wonder. Maybe Santa's origins are demonic in nature. Maybe Rudolph, instead of being a nice misunderstood reindeer, is actually a demon hellhound. Maybe instead of giving out presents, Santa really wants to be slitting our throats. I don't know, it seems like a bit of a stretch for sure, but definitely a fun thought to entertain. Number 4 on this list is the Legend of Krampus. This is less of a terrifying story about Santa Claus, but more of a story about what happens without Santa Claus. In North America, if Santa believes that you've been bad this past year, then you can expect a lump of coal to fill your stocking. As a kid, obviously this sucked and you never wanted this, but the punishment you would receive in Germany or Austria was infinitely worse. Over there, if you've been bad over the course of a year, then rather than get a lump of coal, you will get a visit from Krampus. The lore suggests that Krampus is the antithesis to Santa Claus. If Santa was God, then Krampus would be the devil basically, and I can guarantee you that you do not want a visit from the devil. Often depicted as a goat-like humanoid being that has super large horns jutting from its skull and a tongue several feet long, Krampus is definitely not pleasant on the eyes. If he decides that you're worthy of a visit, then strap in for a long night. It's said that Krampus will enter your home and torture you for being bad. He may even take you away from your house and bring you back to his lair where he will beat and torture you some more. Legend says that he's been known to kill and eat children as well for their behavior over the past year. A visit from Krampus is all bad, and if you are a child in Austria and Germany or around that area, you just need to cross your fingers and hope that Santa Claus doesn't skip your house this year. Number 3 on this list is another movie, but a far scarier one called Sint. Sint definitely takes Santa Claus to a more terrifying place than Santa's Sleigh did. The movie is actually a Dutch film that was released in 2010, directed by Dick Maas and starring some local Dutch actors. The story begins all the way back in 1492. The Bishop, Nicholas, actually leads a cutthroat gang that ravages villages, steals, kills, and pillages to their heart's content. Certainly not the St. Nicholas that we are familiar with. Anyways, this Bishop Nicholas and his gang are finally murdered by some villagers who decide to revolt and fight back against their authority. This obviously isn't the end of the story though, because the ghosts of these gang members haven't had the last of these people on Earth yet. The gang was murdered on December the 5th, and every time that date coincides with a full moon, these ghostly apparitions appear on horseback and come to kill. They brutally slaughter hundreds of people. Women, children, the whole lot. This gang does not discriminate with who needs to die. This movie is a really interesting take on Christmas-time legends and Santa Claus. Now, I suppose the main ghost here, the Bishop Nicholas, isn't technically Santa Claus. In fact, in the movie they call him Sinterklaas, but I figured that's pretty close. He also looks a lot like Santa too, if Santa had been dead for like 500 years and liked to murder people, and that image alone is enough to keep me up at night. Number 2 on this list is the Incubus Demon. Now, the Incubus Demon is far from Santa Claus in every way imaginable. Coming straight from Google, an incubus demon is a demon in male form who, according to mythological and legendary traditions, lies upon sleeping women in order to engage in sexual activity with them. So how does this predatory demon have anything to do with Santa Claus? Well, apparently a woman claims that she was attacked by an incubus demon who looked identical to Santa Claus on December 24th. The woman's name is Jane, and Jane was living with her husband in a suburban home in California. Her husband Mark wasn't home yet. He was coming back from a business trip very late and was going to get back at around 2 in the morning on Christmas Day. Therefore, when Jane was attacked, she was alone in the home. She went to sleep at around 11 p.m. and set up cookies and milk at her front door. This was less for Santa Claus and more as a little joke for her husband when he got home though. She went to sleep and entered into a vivid dream. In the dream, she was transported outside into the cold winter air completely naked. Freezing outside, she was trying to trek through the snow, but a blizzard kicked up and it was hard for her to see. Then she felt as her limbs froze to the ground, so she couldn't move anymore even if she wanted to. Right as that happened, the same freezing sensations entered her whole body and her stomach felt cold as ice. She woke up immediately and opened her eyes to see a figure on top of her. Her instinctual reaction was that her husband was home and waking her up. But seconds later she realized that wasn't the case. The figure was in a big, bushy coat meant for the cold, and its beard was scraping against her skin. She screamed at the top of her lungs, and the creature shot up to a sitting position. At that moment, she got the clearest view of what looked to be a demonic Santa Claus. The same features as Santa has, but black holes for eyes and black liquid coming from its lips. She didn't have time to scream again before the creature took its hand and put it over her face and immediately sent her back into a deep sleep. She woke up the next morning with her husband laying next to her and the room as it was before she went to bed. She told him the whole story, but he tried to calm her down and convince her that it was just a bad dream. Although a nightmare could have been the cause, to this day Jane swears that the experience was as real as anything she's ever felt, and that she was attacked by an incubus demon that looked identical to Santa Claus. Number 1 on this list is a serial killer mall Santa. This is a 100% real story of a serial killer who doubled as a mall Santa as his day job. This isn't that far removed from today either, because the man pleaded guilty to several counts of first-degree murder in 2019 and was given a life sentence. The serial killer in question is Bruce MacArthur, and as I said, his day job was as an entertainer and would often be a mall Santa. Between 2010 and 2017, 8 men disappeared from a neighborhood in Toronto, Ontario. 5 of the bodies were found, but 3 have still yet to be discovered. All of these killings were the work of Bruce MacArthur. Thankfully, Bruce is behind bars now, but I personally find it extremely chilling to think that somebody who was acting regularly as a mall Santa in the Christmas months was also a serial killer in his private life. A mall Santa is someone who you let your kids go to and take pictures with, and to think that people were unknowingly putting their children in the hands of this man is really unsettling. Santa is supposed to be about joy and happiness, and there is absolutely none of that in the life of Bruce MacArthur. But there you have it, guys. That is our list of the top 5 terrifying Santa Claus stories that will keep you up at night. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this list and any scary Santa Claus stories that you have heard of. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.